All right, get this, folks. We're diving into South Korean robotics today, and you might be surprised to hear that they're actually leading the world in robot density.
It's true.
932 robots for every 10,000 manufacturing employees. Like, can you believe that?
It's a pretty staggering number.
Yeah, and we're going to unpack how South Korea got to this point, what they're doing with all these robots, and what it means for the future based on this really interesting YouTube video you sent over.
Right.
So let's start with the basics. How did South Korea become this robotics powerhouse? I mean, it's not like they were always at the forefront of this technology, right?
Well, their rise was actually remarkably fast, and it all kind of started back in 2005 when a team at KAIST, the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, developed their first humanoid robot, HUBO.
QBO, okay.
And even back then, it was capable of some pretty impressive things like voice recognition, speech synthesis, and it even had pretty advanced vision capabilities.
Sounds like QBO was kind of a trailblazer, paving the way for their robotics success today.
Absolutely. And, that success was really cemented in 2015 when, again, a team from KAIST won the DARPA Robotics Challenge.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. That was a huge competition.
Oh, yeah, high stakes. They had to design these semi-autonomous robots
Hmm.
that could navigate, like, really dangerous, disaster-like scenarios, the kinds of situations that would be too risky for humans to enter.
Right, right.
And the KAIST team, they didn't just win, they absolutely crushed it. They finished all the tasks in under 45 minutes.
Wow.
Snagged a cool $2 million prize.
No kidding, a $2 million prize.
Yeah, yeah.
That's wild. So, I mean, this win, was it just a fluke, a stroke of luck, or is there something more going on here?
It's definitely not just luck. This win was like a culmination of years of government support and funding for robotics research and development.
Interesting.
They had the foresight to invest in this technology, really early on, and that's led to this huge range of robotics applications that we see today.
So, okay, they've got the robots, but what are they actually doing with them? I mean, are we talking like futuristic sci-fi scenarios here, or are there actual real-world applications already in place?
Well, get ready, because some of this stuff is going to sound like science fiction, but it's real. For example, we've got Ever-6, a humanoid robot developed by the Korea Institute of Industrial Technology. Now get this, Ever-6 actually conducted the National Orchestra of Korea.
What?
Yeah,
A robot conductor?
robot conductor,
That's insane.
showing the world the potential of robots collaborating with humans in creative fields, right?
Wow.
And if that's not futuristic enough, imagine walking into an unmanned cafe and having a robot barista make your latte.
Like a robot's making my coffee.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's a reality in South Korea. Thanks to companies like Storant, they're capitalizing on this huge demand for contactless services, a trend that's really been growing rapidly since the pandemic.
Wow, robot baristas, robot orchestra conductors. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It seems like robots are popping up everywhere in South Korea.
They really are, especially in the service industry.
Huh.
But it's not just about humanoid robots either. South Korea also has Doosan Robotics, the country's leading manufacturer of what they call collaborative robots, or cobots for short.
Cobots.
These robots are designed to work safely alongside humans in various settings. So
Interesting.
you can imagine them handling luggage at airports, assisting in manufacturing, or even helping out in healthcare.
Okay, so cobots, that's a new one. What makes them so special, so different?
Well, cobots, they kind of go beyond just performing simple tasks.
Okay.
They integrate cutting-edge technologies, AI, machine learning, sensors, and they can even recognize human faces.
Oh, wow.
And this makes them incredibly versatile, incredibly valuable in a variety of workplaces.
So they're not just mindless machines. They can learn, adapt. Pretty impressive.
It is, and it gets even more impressive. You ready for this?
Yeah, lay on me.
KAIST has developed a humanoid robot, P-Bot, that can fly a plane.
Wait, a robot pilot?
Cool. Robot pilot.
That sounds like something out of a movie. How is that even possible?
Well, P-Bot uses natural language processing, so it can actually understand and interpret flight manuals. It can memorize global flight routes. It can operate the cockpit without any modifications to the aircraft.
No way.
Yeah, it can actually understand the information needed to fly.
That's incredible. I'm speechless.
Yeah.
So, okay, South Korea is leading the charge in humanoid robots, and it sounds like they're, well on their way to changing the world as we know it. But I gotta ask, are there any challenges that they're facing in this, rapid advancement? I mean, every superhero has their kryptonite, right?
You're right, it's not all smooth sailing.
Yeah.
One of the biggest challenges they're facing is competition, specifically from China.
China. Huh.
Yeah, you see, while Chinese robots might not be as technologically advanced, they're significantly cheaper,
Oh,
and they're
all right.
flooding the global market.
So it's like a David and Goliath situation almost, with South Korea being Goliath.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
They're the leader, but China's coming in with these like more affordable options that might not be as sophisticated, but they're getting the job done and at a lower cost.
Right, and that puts a lot of pressure on South Korean companies.
Yeah, I bet.
So it is a bit of a David and Goliath scenario.
It is. It is. So we've got South Korea, right? They're like the leader, the Goliath in robot density, the tech's really advanced. But then you've got China, like David, emerging as this major player.
Right?
They're making these robots at a much lower cost. They might not be like as advanced as the South Korean ones, but they're getting there. They're catching up.
They're gaining ground.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And this whole price competition thing, it puts so much pressure on South Korean companies to like stay ahead, stay innovative.
It's a real battle for dominance in the robotics market.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not just the companies feeling the heat, the South Korean government, they've been, so supportive of the robotics industry, but now they have to think about, okay, what happens when these cheaper robots come in? What does that mean for jobs? What does that mean for the economy?
Right, it's a big question.
Yeah, it's a huge question. And it's not just a South Korean problem, it's a global one.
Absolutely.
What happens to jobs, especially in manufacturing, when robots become cheaper, more capable? It's something that keeps a lot of people up at night.
Yeah, and that's why you're seeing more and more people calling for regulation in the robotics industry.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Not just from academics or ethicists, but from labor unions, from policymakers, even from some of the industry leaders themselves.
Really?
Yeah, there's this growing awareness that, we need to manage this transition responsibly.
Yeah.
We need to make sure robots don't cause like widespread economic or social upheaval.
So it's not just about preventing robots from, physically harming someone.
No.
It's about making sure they don't disrupt, like, the fabric of our society.
Exactly. It's about creating a future where robots and humans can coexist and thrive together.
Yeah.
And this leads to a really important conversation about ethics and values in robotics.
Right.
What kind of world are we creating with this technology? What roles do we want robots to play? These are questions that, science fiction has been wrestling with for decades,
Right.
but now they're becoming real and urgent.
Yeah, it's like we're living in a sci-fi movie.
We are. And there's no easy answer. There's no single solution. Each society is going to have its own values and priorities.
Of course.
But we need to have these conversations now while we still have time to shape the future of robotics.
Yeah, so where does South Korea stand in all of this? I mean, we've talked about their leadership in robot density, in technological advancement, but are they also leading the charge in ethical considerations and regulations?
It's a mixed bag. They've been very proactive in promoting robotics development, but maybe a bit slower on the regulatory front. There are guidelines in place, but a lot of experts argue that they need to be more robust, more enforceable.
I see, so there's definitely room for improvement there.
There is.
Yeah.
But I'm optimistic that we're going to see more progress on this front in the coming years.
Okay, that's good to hear.
The South Korean government, they're very aware of the potential downsides of unchecked automation.
Right.
They understand they've invested so much in becoming a leader in robotics, and they don't want to jeopardize that by creating social or economic instability.
Right. It would be like building a beautiful high-tech house, but forgetting to lay a proper foundation.
Exactly.
It's not going to stand up to the pressure.
Exactly. And, it's not just about jobs. There are these broader ethical questions to think about as robots get more and more advanced.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Take self-driving cars, for example.
Yeah, good example.
If a self-driving car gets into an accident, who's responsible? Is it the owner? Is it the manufacturer? Is it the programmer?
It's a tough question. It's a really tough question.
It is. And these aren't hypothetical questions anymore. We're on the verge of robots making decisions that impact human lives.
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure.
And we need to be prepared for the ethical complexities that come with that.
It's like opening Pandora's box, We
Yeah.
can't just unleash this technology without thinking about the consequences.
Absolutely. And those consequences, they extend beyond just self-driving cars. Imagine robots making life or death decisions in healthcare.
Whoa, okay, that's a whole other level.
It is. Should a robot be able to decide whether to administer a life-saving drug? or to turn off life support?
Hmm.
These are huge questions that demand serious thought.
Yeah, these are huge, huge questions that, we as a society need to be grappling with. We can't just leave it to the engineers, to the scientists to figure out the ethical implications.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. It's a responsibility that we all share. What's so interesting to me about this deep dive into South Korean robotics is it's not just about the technology itself, it's about these bigger societal and ethical questions that it raises. It's about recognizing that the future of robotics, it's not predetermined. It's something that we are actively shaping with our choices, with our actions.
Right.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation,
It has.
and I feel like we've only just, scratched the surface.
Mhm.
But I think this is a good point to pause and let our listener, kind of digest all of this. We've covered so much from the economic pressures of, these Chinese robots to the ethical dilemmas of advanced AI. So when we come back, we'll shift our focus back to South Korea and explore their specific vision for the future of robotics. So we're back, and we've talked about the challenges, the ethical questions, and the incredible potential of robotics in South Korea. Now, I'm really curious to dig into what the future holds for them in this field that's changing so rapidly. They seem to be taking a really thoughtful approach from what we've seen so far.
One thing that really sets South Korea apart is their vision for the future. They see a future where humans and robots don't just coexist, they work together, like side by side, using each other's strengths.
Mm.
They're really emphasizing this idea of collaboration. It's a much more optimistic outlook compared to those dystopian sci-fi movies
Hmm.
where robots take over and humans are just obsolete.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a refreshing take for sure. But I'm having a little trouble picturing this. What would this harmony between humans and robots look like in everyday life? Do you have any examples that might make it a little clearer for me and, for our listener?
Okay, well, think back to those cobots we discussed earlier, the collaborative robots from Deucin Robotics. They're not meant to replace human workers, but to actually work alongside them, handling tasks that are, maybe dangerous or repetitive or just require like a crazy level of precision that's beyond human capability.
Right.
It's not about eliminating humans, it's about actually enhancing what they can do.
Okay, so instead of robots stealing our jobs,
Mm,
they could actually make our work safer, maybe even more efficient. I like that scenario a lot better.
exactly. Just picture like a factory worker collaborating with a cobot to assemble some complex piece of machinery.
Yeah.
The cobot could do the heavy lifting, the precise welding, all those repetitive motions, while the human worker can focus on, problem solving, critical thinking, quality control, that kind of stuff.
It's like a perfect partnership then, right?
Yeah, it's a perfect synergy of skills.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Robots are great at those tasks that need speed, precision, and they never get tired.
Right.
But humans, we bring, the creativity, the adaptability, the emotional intelligence. Sounds like South Korea really gets that.
They do, and that's why the government's putting so much money into research and development, focusing on creating robots that can interact with humans in a way that's natural and intuitive. They want robots that can understand our emotions, anticipate our needs, even adapt to new situations.
That sounds like straight up science fiction. Are we talking about robots that can, read our minds? This is both really exciting and also a bit unnerving.
Uh-huh. Well, maybe not mind reading just yet,
Okay.
but we're getting closer. Just imagine robots that can understand your facial expressions, your body language, your tone of voice, even learn your preferences and, adjust their behavior to fit you. It's all about seamless integration, not a robot takeover.
It's amazing how far robotics has come, but like with any powerful technology, there's got to be a line somewhere. Where do we draw that line between helpful robots and robots that are just, I don't know, a little too aware for comfort? It's like something out of a movie, but it's real now.
You're right. That's a crucial point. As robots get smarter, those ethical considerations become so much more important. We have to make sure they're used in a way that benefits all of humanity, not just, for exploitation or manipulation. It's this ongoing balancing act between progress and responsibility.
It sounds like South Korea is approaching this carefully, with some foresight. They're not just jumping headfirst into a future filled with robots without considering the consequences.
Yeah, and that's what's so impressive about their approach. They're not just focused on the technology itself, but the human side of it, the impact it has on society. They want to create a future where humans and robots can both succeed, and that's something I think we can all appreciate.
It's a huge goal, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out. But one thing's clear, South Korea is the one to watch in the world of robotics. They're pushing the limits, asking tough questions, and creating a future that's both thrilling and, undeniably challenging.
It has been such a fascinating journey exploring this with you and our listeners today. What started with a simple YouTube video has turned into this whole world of possibilities and questions.
This deep dive has just scratched the surface, but it's obvious that South Korea's story with robotics is a reflection of a global shift that's already happening. And as robots become more and more a part of our lives, it's more important than ever to have these open discussions, think about the ethics involved, and work together to shape a future where technology empowers humanity, not the other way around.
From robot baristas to plane-flying robots, the possibilities seem endless, but it's up to us as a society to navigate this new territory wisely, responsibly, and with a commitment to a future where both humans and robots can thrive.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to check back soon for more fascinating explorations of the latest tech trends and their impact on our world.